Lamar Jackson becoming a 2-time MVP.
Yep.
Deserving, not surprising. 49 first-place votes for him. He had 49 first-place votes. The Offensive Player of the Year, I thought it was Christian McCaffrey all year long. And not only did he win it, he showed up for it. Did you see? He actually.
I did, and I was pretty surprised. Were you surprised?
I don't know. I mean, they must have, opened up the envelope and shown that.
Did you get a heads up and like, hey,
you got a hall pass?
Yeah, you want to show up to this? I just remember a couple of years ago, Joe Burrow won and was on Zoom, was on remote.
Right. The Walter Payton Man of the Year when Andrew Whitworth collected it, he showed up in person as well there
that's true.
in,
You're right.
LA.
Yep, that's true.
But this gentleman could not be there in person. He's, I'm assuming, calling in right now from Cleveland, Ohio, or Berea, wherever the Cleveland Browns head coach, now 2-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, joining us on the phone here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, Rich. How are you, buddy?
Hey, man, congratulations.
I appreciate it. As you know, I'm humbled, and you feel great about these things because it reflects so much on the people around you. So it's an opportunity for me to talk about our coaching staff, our players, and really our whole operation in Berea.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why I believe you got this award, Coach, is obviously the number of wins. That's helpful, and making the playoffs, that is also helpful. But the way that you and your staff did somehow navigate 5 different starting quarterbacks, 4 of them in games that, were one would say necessary for you to make the playoffs. The last one, you were resting your team. How are you able to negotiate the season with so many different changes at the most important position?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great word, navigate, because it felt like that a bunch this season, and taking twists and turns. And, you never know. Preseason, I tell the coaches all the time, we have no idea what's coming at us. There's just going to be something that's coming, and a lot of times it's injuries. And I think back to, week 1, we lose Jack Conklin, our starting tackle. Week 2, we lose Nick Chubb, our all-world running back. And, what I got from our coaches and from our players is nobody blinked. They were a bunch of problem solvers. And that's what I challenge the coaches week in and week out is how do we win this game? And when you say that, you're talking about who's available to you that week. And, the different quarterbacks, that was different. And, credit to our coaches and credit to those players, because you have to evolve as an offense when you're going from, Deshaun and some of the things we're doing with Deshaun, and obviously you go to Joe, you're going to change what you do because you're trying to play to the strengths of your players. So that was all credit goes to that coaching staff and the players.
How does one in your position keep the next man up mentality and the competition behind the scenes as intense as it probably needs to be, and keep everyone together? How does one create that environment?
Well, it is so cliche, Rich, next man up. We try to live it by making sure that next man stays ready so they don't have to get ready. We look at everybody as a starter, and we have our coaches, you got to develop the third guy on the depth chart because number 3 becomes number 1 pretty quickly in the NFL. So it's really being intentional about developing our guys, being intentional from our player standpoint of never thinking that they're, hey, I'm a rookie, it's a redshirt season. That really doesn't exist in the NFL. So the mentality in our building is always to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
And obviously it is helpful to have, say, a defensive player of the year and comeback player of the year on your roster as well. What was your perspective of watching Myles Garrett do what he did this season?
Yeah, I'm a better coach with Myles Garrett on the field, if you can believe it.
Yes.
For me, I have the best seat in the house. I get to, when we're on defense, I'm watching Jim Schwartz operate, and then I'm watching Myles go to work. And I've seen it for 4 years up close to see how he is on Sundays, and I know our fans in the NFL world have seen it. I really believe Myles took a step this past season in terms of how hard he works, how he leads his football team, was elected captain by the team, and just to see him go and how he operated. And when we needed a play, he was making a play. We talked earlier about that Indianapolis game. We go to Indy, he's blocking field goals, he's getting safeties. I mean, it was incredible. It was like you don't often see a guy take over a game when they're a defensive player, and he took over games. And I can speak from an offensive coach's perspective. When you're game planning, everything you do is trying to make sure Myles Garrett doesn't wreck the game, and he still wrecked games. And I think that's why he's more than deserving to be Defensive Player of the Year.
Kevin Stefanski, the now two-time NFL Coach of the Year, joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, live before the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. What was your conversation with Joe Flacco like when you first picked up the phone and he's looking down and he's trying to figure out what that area code might be on his phone, and then we saw what happened? What was that conversation like?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind with that conversation, Rich, is Joe is from South Jersey, just outside of Philly. I'm from Philly. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking to Joe, I'm hearing the Philly accent. And I felt like I was talking to a cousin or a brother or a guy I went to high school with. And then we bring him in, and same idea. Just talking to him, he has that Audubon, New Jersey, that accent has not left him. And Joe's a pros pro, man. You know, when we first signed him, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that he was going to be our starter. He was on our practice squad, and we just felt like we needed depth there. And then, sure enough, had some injuries, and he's in there. But man, that guy, the way he prepares, the way he is around the building, in the locker room, gives his teammates such great confidence, because there is an air of I've been there, I've done that, a Super Bowl winner. So it was fun, again, for me to be a part of that and just watch him operate.
And then before I let you go here, Coach, you mentioned how you felt like it sounded like you were talking to a family member when you were talking to Flacco. I know your dad's name is Ed. I don't believe any of your kids are named Steve. Did you get confused when the award was announced for Steven Stefanski on Thursday night? Did that hit you?
Well, the truth is, Rich, my cousin Steve had a great night last night. his phone was blowing up, and we called him right away. And his words, he literally picks up the phone and he says to me, "I did it. Hard work pays off."
So wait a minute. You do have a cousin named Steve Stefanski?
That is amazing.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Steve Stefanski. And Phil, you know what, Rich? I'll get, if you want, I could merge Steve onto this call if you want, if we have time.
Oh, you know what? I was told he was not available last night to accept. But that had, talk about a curveball. But hey, it's all the Stefanskis won last night. You know what I mean? I love it.
That's right. And I won't, whatever show that actor was promoting, I'm not watching it.
You're not available either.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, you stand on principle, Coach. That's why you're a two-time Coach of the Year. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Hey, you got to stand for something.
Hey, congrats again. You deserved it, brother.
I appreciate it, Rich.
Thanks for taking the time to call into this show today. Enjoy it.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Right back at you. That's the two-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, cousin of Steve Stefanski.
A real guy.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.